At the end of every unit, your teacher has a chance. Teach a lesson by the lessons and their context to enhance. But what do you suppose our teacher has to do? He skips the lesson that makes us present a digital LQ. Elocution needs historical evidence, reasoning that can corroborate in advance a complex thesis that Dr. John P. Alex would admire. Then we drop the screencast like a single that is fire. Student created screencast for you to like, subscribe, and share. We know you had old John Green and Steve Hamlin you could hear. If we have the most views by 10 p.m. East on 5th day, we earn 500 bonus points, which rarely guarantees an A. Without much more, than Vienna do, we present our digital Q.
Hello YouTube, this is an AP Modern World History project on the impact of religion on the administration of empires in Eurasia and Africa. Thesis. The presentation will analyze the effects of the religion on the government administration of empires in Eurasia and Africa from the year 1450 through 1750. Europe. All over Europe, Christianity and Islam dominated the governments of kingdoms and empires. The Pope and Catholic teachings influenced Catholic nations and its monarchies. Protestantism and other religions such as Islam influenced the countries where it was the strongest. Christian monarchs were regarded as chosen by God to be his appointed ruler of the nation to whom he rules. They were supposed to be defenders of the church and rulers who actively supported Christianity through funding Christian projects such as religion, arts, and the construction of monasteries. The Sultan of the Ottoman Empire was regarded by Sunni Muslims as a caliph, the successor of the Prophet Muhammad and the religious as well as political leader of Islam. Here's a map of the distribution of religions in Europe in the year 1555. Here to our left we have the keys with the religious divisions of Europe, which are found throughout Europe. Christianity 1. There were three primary branches of Christianity that were impactful on the governance of states: Roman Catholicism, Protestantism, and Eastern Orthodoxy. The Roman Catholic and Eastern Orthodox churches was originally one church that was divided into two after the Great Schism in the year 1054 after two bishops of both faiths excommunicated each other. Protestantism arose after the priest Martin Luther published his 93rd Thesis and consequently his teachings divided the Christian world, leading to wars between Catholics and Protestants over the latter's heresies. Christianity 2. The Bishop of Rome was the leader of the Roman Catholic Church. Being Christ's deputy on earth, he functioned as a mediator between monarchs and unifying leader for European nations and a regulator of morals for Christian kings. Christian emperors and kings were expected to be virtuous rulers who adhered to God's will, and if Catholic, they were to abide by the Bishop of Rome's decisions on temporal and matters related to faith. Bishops had the power over monarchs, being able to influence them with sermons and advice. Here's a picture with St. Ambrose Byron Theodosius from Milan, Cathedral by Anthony van Dyck, 1619-1620. Although it depicts an event that happened during the 4th century, it is still relevant in the context of Christian monarchy. In this image, the Archbishop of Milan bars Roman Emperor Theodosius from entering the cathedral after he crushed a revolt that resulted in 7,000 people dead. It displays the power and influence that bishops, patriarchs, and popes had over monarchs. They could bar them from mass or excommunicate them from if they have done a horrible act. The image also suggests that kings and emperors should be pious and benevolent rulers in their manner of governance. Islam. The leader of Sunni Islam was a caliph, the religious successor of the Islamic prophet Muhammad, who was also the leader of a Islamic state, of the Caliphate, an Islamic state. The Ottoman sultans, along with other Islamic monarchs, believed it was their Allah given duties to conquer nations for Islam due to Islamic concept of jihad. Islam governed and affected how Islamic powers administered their empires, with leaders following their God's commands and their restrictions on other faiths. They tried to emulate Muhammad. Asia. Sikhism. From 1450 to 1750, Asia experienced the development of a new religion. The combination of Hindu and Islam led to Sikhism, which dominated parts of Asia. During this time period, this new religion led to the development of a new political belief and societal values. The Sikhism belief that mankind should regain their godly aspects led to the deconstruction of societal classes in southern Asia. This led for a more progressive view of the world. Africa. Ethiopia, unlike most African nations in the early modern period, was Christian. As a result of Roman missionaries converting the rulers of Ethiopia in the 4th century AD, with its history with Christianity and other faiths such as Judaism, is a long and extensive one. The Abbasid Caliphate was the third caliphate formed after the death of Islamic prophet Muhammad and after the destruction of the capital of Baghdad, which relocated to Cairo, Egypt under the dominion of the Mamluks, helping to legitimize Mamluk rule for Muslims. African belief systems in 1450 to 1750 will continue to be predominated by Islamic regulations and integrated into the dynamic Muslims trading network and stateless societies, which will continue to find spiritual fulfillment in the animistic rituals and rites of passage. Although the introduction and conversion of kingdoms like the Congo, King Alfonso, will see coastal areas of Africa blend with African religions with Christianity. Theme analysis. Theme 2: Cultural developments and interactions. Culture: Government and religion affected each other in significant ways. Culture and tradition influenced how people practiced their faith. The government was in turn affected by their culture and religion. It established how rulers and nobles typically went after along with their religious and personal lives. Cultural art styles and religious tradition influenced artists and architects who made pieces of art and religious buildings. This is evidence, a picture, primary source of a Catholic Bohemian art, 15th century. Theme 3: Governance. Religion and government was usually tied together in most nations of the world, with states supporting a religion being a part of the government, an example the Ottoman Empire, or religious controversy plaguing the state, an example of Protestants versus Catholicism. Religion, despite its potentially divisive nature, served as a way for monarchs to give hope and happiness to their subjects, as well as suppress their desire for revolt or secession. It, at all times, unified nations in times of crisis and war. This is a picture of a representation of the Bed of Vienna, AD 1683. The Ottoman Empire besieged the Austrian capital of Vienna, which was the gateway into the rest of Europe with only 15,000 troops defending the city against more than 100,000 Ottoman soldiers. Catholic powers such as the Holy Roman Empire and Poland united together to defeat the Turkish threat with the Pope, helping to unify the parties involved. It boosted the morale of Christians, Shia, Muslims, and Persia, and the battle broke the spirit of the Sunni Ottoman and Turks.